Hello. Right. Always a little bit of playing around to get the Zoom right. So let's go. So apologies for this. Right. Okay. I'm ready. I'm prepared. Just not quite prepared for the little technical annoyances, I guess, of starting Zoom. Okay. So this is the weekly Wednesday Zoom that I do throughout the program for Thrive. And the aim of this is just really to give you an opportunity to connect with your goal, just find out some other bits of motivation or information that may actually help you with your progress. And today, what I want to talk about is just a little bit about why eating hard. I'll start again. Why eating well consistently can actually be quite hard. Because what is probably evident now, I think, is that when you start to think about how to eat and how to eat well, it's actually quite a simple method. Okay, there's nothing complicated. It's really about eating, nutritious meals that are filling and satisfying, that are going to stop you feeling hungry in between from one meal to the next and reduce your need to snack. It really is that simple. That can take a little bit of trial and error over time to find out which meals work best for you, because we're all individuals and our preferences and how food works in our bodies is also different as well. But whilst it's simple in principle, it's not always easy to stick to. You know that already. All right. But I think it's useful to reflect on that. And why it's hard is because there are constantly different forces at play that are pulling us away from a dietary path that we want to follow. And usually we have an idea on a personal level of what the right type of diet is for us and how we want to eat. But we're just faced with things all the time that are pulling us away from that. That could be stress and emotional eating, just simply being distracted by having so many things going on each day. We don't end up eating how we intend to. Our energy levels can dip, so we just might get to a day where we really don't have it in us to just make the meal that we're supposed to be eating. We can be really heavily influenced by others and what they eat. We can be influenced by the environments that we're in, the special offers in the supermarket, our budgets, a whole raft of things. So it's useful to think about this. So you've got that path and there's things pulling you and sort of pulling you away from the path that you want to work on all the time. There are things outside of you. They're not things that are within you. They're things that are external around you. Okay. And so when you need to change, and this is why we're in this program, we're in this group together, is that when you want to change, it's important to think about how you can create positive forces that actually support and push you along in that direction that you want to go to. And that's going to help counter those forces that are constantly trying to pull you away. Okay. Now, the forces that we can think about are habits, new habits. Okay. And those new habits that can be really, really effective, can be so simple, are planning your meals every week. Planning your meals each day can actually be helpful for some people, even down to planning the time that you're going to eat. That can be a really helpful hack, if you like, to really give you a big incentive not to snack in between meals. If you say, I'm going to have my breakfast at 7 and my lunch at 1, it gives you something to aim for. So simple little habits and little techniques like that can help keep you on track. Okay. The thing is, we need to be doing those every day, at least, maybe not forever, but just at the beginning, daily. That might take 2 or 3 months of doing that before that becomes an automatic ingrained habit for you. Okay, so there are examples of habits that can be really effective in helping keeping your eating patterns consistent. Other ones can be changing your environment, having the right foods in all the time, making foods or building up a repertoire of meals, I should say, that you enjoy, that work very well for you. So you're having the right foods in and knowing that you're making things for yourself that work really well and are effective for you. Equally, getting rid of the junk that you eat. Some people can find that it's easy enough if it's out of sight, out of mind, and in its cupboard, it's in its own cupboard and you can't see it. That's enough. Other people might really need at the beginning to not have things in the house. Okay, you know yourself, you know what the right level of intervention is, but you're trying to manage and control the environment as much as you can. There are times when you can't change your environment, of course. You know, chocolate cakes, birthday cakes at work can be just a really difficult thing to manage. But again, there are things that you can do to try and mitigate that, you know, so be prepared, make your lunches, don't be hungry when you're in those places, because then you're going to be able to justify to yourself that, oh, one will be all right because I've not eaten. So if I have a chocolate or a cake, then I've still not had more calories than I should be doing. You know, you have this little voice that's turning around all the time, that's sort of wanting to veer you off course and take opportunity of these things that present themselves to you, these forces, distracting forces. So your environment is one of the things that you can look at control, or thinking about how you're going to respond in environments that you can't control, i.e. not your kitchen. Okay. Another very effective force that you can use is belonging to a community of people who have the same goal as you. And that's why I've also set up the Facebook group in this program. So if you haven't joined, jump on there, because this is a scientifically proven phenomenon, tripping over my words, that having a community can be really effective to help people stick to intentions. And there's a couple of reasons why that works. One, you have accountability. And another one, which I think is really significant, that's why things have worked for me, is that it's just that constant reminder all the time that I need to do this thing. Okay. And really, I find that it does, certainly at the beginning, when you're trying to make changes to your lifestyle and to ingrain new habits, you need to be checking in as often as you can. And that might be once a day, several times a day. It really doesn't matter, but it has to be a regular thing. Because when you lose or let that connection with what you're trying to achieve weaken or get eroded by just forgetting about it, then all the other forces, all the other distractions in your life take over. And before you know it, you've sort of slipped back without realizing into your older and more familiar and definitely more easier eating patterns, and you're back where you started. So community can be a really effective way of actually being able to check in, read a little bit of something about what you're trying to do, connect with someone, answer a question, put your intentions for the day in there, post your own meals. All those things can be little ways of just creating that connection with what you're trying to achieve and building that up, and just creating lots of little ticks and lots of little forces that are really ingraining what you're doing into your brain, into your routine, into your daily life, so it starts to become really easy and really normal for you. So if you haven't gone onto the Facebook group now, I recommend that you go and you start. And it can be very daunting going into a group where you don't know people, and especially, you know, it's one thing maybe going into a face-to-face group, you see real faces and real people. Sometimes when you're putting into an online group, it can feel like you can feel actually more self-conscious. Well, I know I would recognize that you're sort of putting something into a sort of a big black hole, if you like, and not being able to read anyone's reactions. And if you're not met with a reaction, you can feel quite conspicuous. Okay, but get over that. See if you can go in, participate, ask questions, share what you're doing, share what you're struggling with, share what you're finding well. And when you put something in, that's going to encourage other people to do it as well. And I will certainly be liking, answering anything that you put in there. So really use that, you know, really take advantage and use that part of this program, because that's going to be really helpful. Another force that is really useful to think about, or to incorporate, I should say, is journaling and self-reflection. So every time you do something that is a positive thing that's taking you towards your goal, like doing a meal plan, eating a healthy lunch, turning down that opportunity for a snack, just take a second to acknowledge it and to almost congratulate it a little bit. You know, that might seem a little bit American almost, that you're patting yourself on your back or high-fiving yourself. But even if you just take a second to say, oh, I did that walk, I made that meal, I've done that list, yeah, I'm taking these little to-dos off my list all the time. That's a really positive thing, because you're acknowledging, recognizing, and reinforcing that behavior. And you're also doing something to your brain as well. You're actually giving it a little boost, if you like, a little positive feel from the little things that you've done. That is going to start changing the chemistry in your brain and the way your brain works, to make you more want to repeat these things on automatic. Okay, so at the beginning of a process like this, where you're trying to change your diet, change your habits, create consistent long-term eating patterns that are going to help you lose weight, get healthier, feel better, all of those things, you really have to line up as many things as you can to make it happen. Okay, and to really keep you motivated, keep you engaged, keep you remembering. All right, so that's all I wanted to share today. Just those little things that you can do as a reminder, because remember, when you don't do them, there's lots of forces outside of your control that are wanting to pull you away from what you're trying to achieve, distract you from your intentions. You have to counter that with other forces that put you back into control and help push you along in the right direction. Habits, work on those. Congratulate yourself every time you do something that you say you will. Look at how you can change your environment so it's easier. Join in a community. Do something that means that you're checking in with your goals and your intentions each day. Things like posting in the group, doing your own little bits of journaling just to remind yourself of what you're working on. Okay. Hope that just gives you a little bit of food for thought for today. As always, you can always drop me a line. You can message me in the group. You've got my email details. I want to hear how you're getting on. I want to hear any questions that you have. All right. Take care. I'll see you soon.